And my understanding, Mike, is that the Pittsburgh Steelers are expected to consider trade offers for Antonio Brown. They have not closed the door on the possibility that he plays for another team.
What's going on, everybody? C4 here, and welcome to the newest episode of the Realistic Rebuilds, here again with the Raiders, a team that we rebuilt way before they had all of the draft assets that they did. When we did the Raiders, they had one draft pick. They still had Khalil Mack and Amari Cooper. So I figured, entering this rebuild, we had 3 first-round draft picks. The Raiders, which is probably going to be very high. You had the Bears, and you had the Cowboys. I was like, well, should I do a rebuild where I just take all 3 of those first-round draft picks and see what we can do with them? I was like, that's pretty interesting. But then, Antonio Brown, the rumors are swirling that he has handed in a transfer request with the Pittsburgh Steelers and no longer wants to be on that team. And then, as you saw at the very beginning, it seems pretty clear from Steeler fans that at minimum, they want a first-round pick and an elite player going back in their way. So, knowing that I want to put him on the Raiders, knowing that there's not a lot of elite players, what we did was we gave him our second-best offensive guard because they don't need a center because they have Marquise Pouncey. So they got Khalil Mack. Now we're left with a massive hole there. And Khalil Mack, if you're looking at it from a Steelers standpoint, would be a massive upgrade over Ramon Foster and takes probably the best offensive line in the AFC, gets them even better, and we gave them one of our first-round picks, the one via the Cowboys. I feel like that's going to be the market value for Antonio Brown. I don't think he's going to get multiple first-round picks because it's one of those things where the Steelers kind of had to sell him at this point. I don't think they want to risk having another locker room drama like they did with Le'Veon Bell. They'd rather get as much value as they can and get out of it while they can, versus holding on too long with Antonio Brown, having a disgruntled player that has, kind of been said from ex-Steeler players, a locker room cancer, a diva. I feel like what we offer them, pretty fair within the realm. So here we go. We got Antonio Brown on the Raiders. He is 30, but he does not regress very, very bad. And he should, I've seen him go in, like he's usually finishes up in like the high 80s at year 5 of the rebuild. That is just fine for me. So when you look at the rest of our roster here, well, it's a roster. We have Derek Carr at quarterback. Probably gonna want to look at bringing in a new QB. We'll just say that. Running back, we got a lot of old dudes. We got Marshawn Lynch. We got Doug Martin. And as much as I like Marshawn Lynch, he is not going to be the running back of the future here for the Raiders. And I don't necessarily think we have one on the roster. Jalen Richard doesn't look bad, but the normal dev trade doesn't help out. I'll say out of almost all the positions, you want your running back to have a very good dev trade because just in the sim, they don't perform really, really well. So very often, they will not make the Pro Bowl unless they're super, super good. So, in reality, you need at least a quick dev. If you get a star dev on a running back, you're going to be sitting pretty. Wide receiver, we have Antonio Brown. We have Jordy Nelson, too old. Seth Roberts, there's literally no, maybe Marcel Aitman is the only guy on this roster they're going to have a chance at developing, but ultimately, we're probably going to try to get a Jordy Nelson's contract sooner than later, and there's a massive drop-off. So we have Antonio Brown. Anytime you have Antonio Brown, it's good, and maybe Antonio Brown being on this roster could make Derek Carr into the quarterback that he should be, that we hope he'll be. What's Derek Carr's dev trade? It's a startup. That's not bad. If we can get good production, we could definitely, through just this first year, get Derek Carr, into the mid-80s, which is not bad. But we need Antonio Brown and him to fire in all cylinders. I got Jared Cook, one of the most underrated tight ends in the league. We're going to try to use him. But again, for the long term of the rebuild, not great. Offensive line, you have Colton Miller. This guy needs to develop 73 quick. A little bit of a reach in the first draft of Mr. John Gruden. But, and I personally, we've seen him. We have him in the pink slips, and he's up into the 80s. So we'll see what we can do there. The rest of the offensive line, you got Rodney Hudson, one of the best centers in football. Probably like the second or third best center. Obviously, Jason Kelce of the Philadelphia Eagles is really, really good. But he's right in that conversation. Gabe Jackson kind of has an ugly contract, but he is almost 80 with a quick dev. So we'll see what we can do. Donald Penn, we need to fix this offensive line. Defensive ends, there's not a whole lot there. You got Arden Key. Maybe we'll be able to work that, develop him into something. At D tackle, you have Jonathan Hankins here, who we're actually going to put up on the trade block just because he's 26 and 80. We have Mo Hurst, who's 23 and 80 with a quick dev, and you have PJ Hall, who's 23, 76 with a quick dev. So I feel like go with the youth. I feel like if you're just 3 years down the road, is PJ Hall going to be at least an 80? Yes. So that kind of makes Jonathan Hankins surplus requirement. He should have a market. Linebacking core, what's here? Markel Lee, I mean, maybe. He's 22. He's young enough. We might be able to get something developed there. Definitely need help at middle linebacker. We have Tahir Whitehead here. Again, nothing special at linebacker. Garyon Conley at corner. Looks pretty decent. 23.81. Should be able to hopefully, fingers crossed, get that dev trait back up. But after that, there is kind of a drop-off, which sucks. Not a lot of free safety. Gilchrist is old. And we got Carl Joseph at strong safety. So there is one of very little positions that we have covered for the 5 years of this rebuild. We do have our first-round pick and the first-round pick from the Chicago Bears from the Khalil Mack trade. So we have that going for us. But this is going to be a hard rebuild. The plan will always be move this team to Las Vegas. So that is what we're going to do. And let's make the Las Vegas Raiders great again, baby. So we found a trade partner with another unhappy player. Full reports out of Miami. There's been lots of why isn't Kenyon Drake playing? Why isn't he getting more snaps? And they feel like it's just another Jay Ajayi scenario. So we found a perfect trade, getting Kenyon Drake, sending them Jonathan Hankins. We now have our running back, hopefully, for the remainder of the rebuild. So coming out of the bye, not looking so hot with a 1-5 record, but we have been able to expedite the relocation process by 1 year. Originally, it was going to be 2020, but there's a lot of confusion up in the air. So are the Raiders going to play in 2019? Well, we were able to push a couple things around, get the stadium built, and we'll be playing in Las Vegas in 2019 versus 2020, which is great. So let's just pick the stadium. I mean, we'll figure that out in just a second. There's a couple ones. Want to make sure we're not operating at a deficit, though, which would be, pretty much paramount. So when it talks about players coming back, we need to look at our roster here. First thing is first, we have a decent amount of salary cap, so we don't have an immediate replacement in just ready to go. I will bring back older players. So when we look back here, a lot of these depth guys were pretty decent, all things considered. Running back, I mean, I would look at Jalen Richard, but $16 million for a guy that's not going to play a lot behind Kenyon Drake. It's just not worth the money. Rashawn Melvin, corners regress at 29, so I don't think so. So really the only guy I think is going to get a contract here is going to be Jared Cook, who is really, really underrated. And, of course, he wants more money. Knowing that we're going to Vegas, he thinks that he's entitled to something, I guess. We'll go back to the table. We're not going to overpay him. I wouldn't go much higher than $21 million for a total contract for Jared Cook. And the rest of these guys is a change in the guard here in Oakland. We got to get younger. At season's end here, not a bad record, man. We finished 6-9-1. I thought for sure we were going to have an absolute horrendous pick. So we're picking 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. We're picking 8th, which is, I think what are the Raiders picking in real life? 2nd, 3rd? No, they're picking 4th. So we're not too far off. And, all things considered, because we had Antonio Brown, 6-9-1 is not a terrible record here for the Raiders. We have one player that's just been an absolute monster, and that is Maurice Hurst. Made a Pro Bowl. Didn't get a depth trade, but making a Pro Bowl as a guy that, had some medical issues. That's the only reason why he slipped out of the first round. Raiders got an absolute steal. Look, he's already up to an 87 as a rookie. He looks like he's the next franchise player here on this team. Taking a quick look at our stats. Derek Carr, not bad. Derek Carr, one of those guys you could throw in the line with like Andrew Luck and Matt Stafford and Cam Newton for quarterbacks that are, not, depending on who you ask, go from not terrible to pretty decent in real life to good that never play well in Madden. I will take that every day of the week. 4,200 yards, 34 touchdowns, 10 picks out of Derek Carr. Running game, we got 900 yards, 5 touchdowns here from Kenyon Drake. 4 fumbles is not great, but that's not terrible. 82 catches, 744, and 5 from Jordy. Look at that. Seth Roberts, okay. 68 catches, 1,200 yards, 15 touchdowns. AB, 950 and 6. Thought for sure, probably should get Antonio Brown, those kind of numbers, but it is what it is. Defensively, Tahir Whitehead, 124 tackles, 9 TFLs, 3 sacks, 3 picks. That's a huge year from him. How did he make the Pro Bowl? Mo Hurst from D tackle, 13 TFLs, 7.5 sacks. We got 4 picks from Conley, 3 from Whitehead. This team is developing. Not bad at all. Todd Gurley got himself an MVP award. Coach of the Year went to McVay. Offensive Player of the Year went to Patrick Mahomes, with Derek Carr coming in at number 5. Defensive Player of the Year went to Ryan Shazier with no love. Oh, man, Tahir Whitehead had a good year. Offensive Rookie of the Year went to Baker Mayfield. Defensive Rookie of the Year went to Jerome Baker. Where? Mo Hurst all the way down there at 8. And whatever, man. You can't get too caught up in those kind of things. I'm very, very happy with a lot of the young guys and how they have progressed. Since we are in the owner mode, it is time to look at helping our team here. We're going to be firing you because we want to work on aggression, and we're going to be firing you because who the hell wants linebacker specialty for your scouting? Free agents here. We have a decent amount of money, so here's what we're looking at. So we got first up Zadarius Smith, 26, 84, quick dev from the Baltimore Ravens as an outside linebacker. We're going to get him. We're going to move him to defensive end at 6'4", 275, power rusher. Either side. Ardenke's not really developing. We don't even have a left defensive end, so this was a no-brainer. No bids on him. We got Darrell Williams. We're going to come with a massive offer to outbid the two teams that ruin and make free agency in Madden 19 in particular just really, really boring in the Redskins and Dolphins, but we drastically need a starting right tackle. Our current right tackle is a 68. We got Jesse James, tight end from the Steelers. He would come in more so just be cover. We did pay Jared Cook, but you can see he regressed, so really only paid 1 year for Jared Cook. John Miller's a guard. We got Robert Foster, 74, quick dev wide receiver. He'd just be a nice depth. And then, of course, Nick Mullins, who had a terrific year for the 49ers, bring him in to be Derek Carr's backup. All right, so sitting here at pick 7, the Vegas Raiders have, wow, Nick Bosa. Sure, if he's there at 7, I will eat a live cat. But he is here in the rebuild, so why not? 80 superstar, #1 in true talent, slipping to number 7, which is absolutely ridiculous. But the Raiders are loving it. Their second first-round pick, very easy. We're going Deontay Thompson. We don't even have a free safety on the roster. So Deontay Thompson from Alabama, 76 quick. Pretty nice. Look at our draft recap here. Obviously, nailing on Nick Bosa and Deontay Thompson in the first round was huge. We got Yadi Kajus, who will probably slide inside to one of the guard spots. He's a 73. We got Ryan Finley for a backup quarterback, just in case Derek Carr starts to creep up his ugly head. 74 quick, so there is something there. Justice Hill in the 4th round, then we just kind of rounded out the depth chart down at the draft. But Nick Bosa, Antonio Brown on the Vegas Raiders. I'm hype. So as we set up for week number 1 in year number 2, first year as the Vegas Raiders, our team is not looking as bad as we was last year. 83 offense, 79 defense, 79 base from the offensive line standpoint. We're going to be going Kajust at left guard. Darrell Williams, our big free agency signing at right tackle. Those are the changes there. We got Jesse James as our second tight end. Seth Roberts, Mr. Huge year last year, get a bump up in competition here. We're going to give him more snaps. Kenyon Drake. We got Robert Foster here. Will contribute in with, obviously, Antonio Brown at wide receiver. Defensively, big old Nick Bosa will be starting along with Zadarius Smith. We got this Ford guy in free agency, Mike Ford. Sure, welcome to the squad. Eli Harrell, we just made him a signing here at outside linebacker just a second ago. We had Deontay Thompson, first-round draft pick at free safety. So I think we're gonna have a competitive team. We're gonna have a competitive team, but ultimately we'll go as far as Derek Carr and Antonio Brown want to take us. Year 2, though, probably still not expecting playoffs. Midway point of year number 2, and we're 0-6. Not what we want it to be. As you see, a nice 3-point regression from Antonio Brown. Looking at contracts here, let's see what we got. So we got Rodney Hudson. Doesn't even matter how much he regresses still. We're not going to get probably a better center for this rebuild. We got Carl Joseph. Yes, sirree. You are a big part of our team going forward. We got Kenyon Drake at running back. Already lost his dev trait, but we made decent amount of headway to... You know what? They always have better running backs in free agency. You know what? We'll let him hit. Worst case scenario, we know we need to pay for a running back. We're not going to have to pay much more than that if he hits the open market. Actually, you know what? Seth Roberts has been pretty good. We might have to come back and negotiate with Seth Roberts, but everyone else, yeah, you know, it is what it is. But we got Carl Joseph, Rodney Hudson. Those are two big gets to keep in-house and not let hit the open market. And of year 2, our team was even worse than what they were before. 3-13, which was going to give us a draft pick. We're going to have the #1 draft pick, so that is awesome. Thanks to the Colts for tying. There you go. That just shows the Sims really weird because the Colts have like one of the best young rosters in the game. Derek Carr, not bad again. We can't put it on him. 32 touchdowns, 9 picks. That's not bad. Kenyon Drake went over 1,000 yards, 7 touchdowns. Of course he does. When we can't hammer out a contract extension, they always play better in the sim. We got 74 catches, 833 and 9 from Jared Cook, almost 1,100. Oh, that's a generous roundup. 1,000 yards, 10 touchdowns from AB, 645 and 3 from Foster. Seth Roberts, not bad as well. Defensively, 120 tackles, 10 TFLs, 4 sacks from Tahir Whitehead. He's actually been really, really nice. Nick Bosa, as a rookie, 17 tackles for loss, 9.5 sacks. We only got 4 picks on the year. Disgusting. Got to get better in the secondary for sure. Well, we have Garyon Conley, though. We gotta get some more production there. MVP went to Ezekiel Elliott. Offensive player of the year went to Le'Veon Bell in the AFC. Derek Carr at number 10. Defensive player of the year went to Jatavis Brown. We had no one. Offensive rookie of the year went to Drew Lock. We had Justice Hill at 9. Defensive rookie of the year went to Josh Allen, with Nick Bosa coming in at 5. Deontay Thompson at 8. A little bit disrespectful for the Raiders, but we know our players have developed nice. Our roster's gone up a bunch of points in terms of overall. I think 1 overall in base and a couple points on both offense and defense. So we're getting there, man. We're getting there. This is going to be a rebuild, especially with the Raiders, that year 4, year 5 is when we're going to expect to be good, not years 1 and years 2. So that being said, let's hop into the offseason where hopefully we can splurge a little bit of money in free agency and hit on the number 1 pick. And with Derek Carr playing pretty well, it's not going to be a quarterback. So who's the best player? In the 2019-2020 draft class, well, the 2020 draft class, that's not a quarterback. On the top of my head, I have no idea. So we had big money in free agency, so we're going after big time targets. First up, Cooper Kupp, 91, and only a couple points below Antonio Brown, but would be a big get for this offense. We got Jordan Howard, who is a scheme fit. We're not going to overpay because there is a uber talented running back who we could potentially select at first overall in Jonathan Taylor out of Wisconsin, but we'll see if we can get Jordan Howard. And then we got Anthony Brown, 83 corner, 26, normal dev. Nothing too serious, but would be a nice little pairing there with Garyon Conley. Bringing it to you live with the number 1 overall pick in the draft for the Raiders. Doesn't even give us the option to trade it, which is phenomenal. Okay, got Grant Delpit, Irv Smith, Jalen Phillips, who retired. Got to update my draft classes, but let's just act like, he didn't not retire. Where do we go? Okay, first of all, we got to pause the draft. I don't like being under pressure because it gives me diarrhea from time to time. So let's make this pick here. Okay, so we don't need a quarterback. Running back, Jonathan Taylor. You got a couple freaks, but we just did land Jordan Howard in free agency. We got Jordan Howard in Cup. We did not get Anthony Brown, so that's something to think about. At wide receiver, DK, again, got to update my draft classes. People, you got to bear with me. DK Metcalf is really, really good, but we got Cooper Kupp and Antonio Brown at wide receiver, so we're pretty good. We could wait and look at a later round pick. Irv Smith at tight ends. He's really nice, but we don't really need a tight end. Offensive line, we got Walker Little and Alex Leatherwood. We've used both those guys, I think, almost at least once in rebuilds. I like to be a little bit different and not burn the number 1 pick on a tackle yet again, even though we could kind of use one, but we don't really want to give up on Colton Miller yet. Defensive end, we're good. We got Bosa, we got Zadarius Smith. The D tackle, we're good. But, Aubrey Solomon's really, really good. Didn't he transfer to, Tennessee or something crazy like that? Linebackers where we could use some help, but is there a number 1 overall pick at linebacker? I don't know. Terrell Lewis is really nice, but for me, I need to look here at the secondary. We're looking at the secondary. We need to get an absolute playmaker. I think we has to be corner. Is there a corner worth the first overall pick? Byron Murphy, he's already declaring, but he's really nice. What do we got here? 445. We got CJ Henderson from my Gators. 447. Christian Fulton. He's supposed to be the number 1 corner, but look, his grade is late first rounder, man. Why won't you let me trade out of this pick? I want to trade out. I don't want to make this selection. I'm not going to sim it because I'd be dumb. We already know Grant Delpit's a beast. We used him a couple rebuilds ago. I don't know what the ratings of any. I don't want to reach. We're at number 1. We're going to have to reach for whoever we take. You know what? We are going to go. Not going to overthink it. We will go with Christian Fulton. Corner from LSU. There we go. We're waste of a first pick. 79 normal. Couldn't trade out, though. What do you expect me to do? So getting a look here at our draft recap. Even though we weren't happy with the pick of Christian Fulton because we couldn't trade out at 1 overall because, heaven forbid, Madden works properly, It's not bad. 79, the dev trade's not great. Hopefully he can play well. I find for whatever reason, secondary players, DBs in general, their dev trades do grow a lot in franchise mode. But 79 overall, like that's right around the cusp. Like most first overall picks, it's a little under it. Most first round picks get between like an 81 and an 83, but 79, it's not like it's a end of the world type pick. But we had a really good one here in the second round. We got Caleb Kelly, 75, quick dev linebacker from Oklahoma. He probably will play middle for us, start at middle, but we need to get better at linebacker, and that is a great get. We weren't going to reach for Troy Dye, the talented linebacker from Oregon in the first round. We got Hooker here in the third round, and then straight up just depth. But we got good dev traits, man. 68 quick for Joe Lowry. I think Hooker actually had a quick dev. No, he didn't. One of these guys had a quick dev. Either way, we hit on a couple dev traits for those guys that were in the 60s, but with Fulton, with Caleb Kelly, with adding Jordan Howard, and who else we added? Cooper Kupp in free agency. We already have a 90-plus offense. Looking for a big turnaround here in year 3 for the Las Vegas Raiders. Halfway point of year 3, we are 1-6. We're not as bad as the Broncos. I don't know what the fuck's going on. So what we do every time we can't figure it out. We change the scheme. We change the offense. Maybe the defense if need be. The West Coast power run's not working. We don't have really any good scheme fits. We have the run and shoot. Oh, and we always go to the Philadelphia Eagle playbook. That always helps us out. It's worked in a bunch of different rebuilds. We got to change it up. Clearly, if we had coordinators would be fired by this point. Clearly, maybe not John Gruden because he has that 10-year, $100 million deal, but coordinators would be fired. So let's see what we got here. I guess we're supposed to be a 3. We'll go base. We'll go run and shoot. That's not that good though. That's what Doug Peterson wants. It's not our fit. Screw it. We're going for it. We got to change it up. This is unacceptable. So look at that players and contracts. We have, obviously, I saw Garyon Conley there. Star Dev corner. Absolutely. Here's a very nice contract for you. Who's next? Tahir Whitehead. You played very well. You're a Star Dev. Kind of old, but, $7 million deal if you'll take that every day of the week. We got some special teamers. I'm not so worried about Robert Foster. Quick dev wide receiver. Get you locked up. Thank you very much. Marquel Lee has been actually solid at middle linebacker for us. Not saying he's not replaceable. Oh, you want more money? Go fuck yourself. All right, go F yourself, bud. That's, like, what are we going to do to make this team good? We have a quarterback. We have good wide receivers. Offensive line's a work in progress. I mean, what's the expectation? That every rebuild we do, we're going to have 90s, 85-plus on offensive line? It takes time. It's not always going to be possible. Defensively, 85. Like, this is a team that should have more than one win. There's no other way around it. I don't know, man. Let's keep going. The end of year 3, and, 91 offense, 87 defense, 86 overall. Again, you always got to put this in perspective, because rebuilds, yes, things get skewed a little bit, but, like, if we're just starting, this was year 1 of a rebuild, we're starting 86 overall, that's definitely a top 10 team. So a top 10 team that went 5-11. Like, we've had 1 year where we had more than 5 wins. Looking at the stats, of course, something else I noticed is, my God, anyone else here on PC or just playing cloud, it lags. I'm getting some lag here. Terrible year from Derek Carr. Hey, who'd have thought? Giving him another 90-plus wide receiver, and he has his worst season by a country mile. Jordan Howard that's acceptable for what we paid for him. Antonio Brown, those are, for God's getting in his 11th year, 78 catches, 1,200 yards, 9 TDs, not bad. Cooper Kupp, 91 for a man that we paid a lot of money for. Nowhere near what we need from him. Defensively, Marquel Lee, good season, 6.5 sacks. Like, what is going on with this team? Why do they suck? Mo Hurst is good, but Nick Bosa is underperforming. Fulton didn't even get a single. We're not even looking at awards. This team does not deserve for me to look at the awards. This is just disgusting performance. This team gotta be like, Nick Bosa should be getting 12 sacks a year. Mo Hurst is developing really, really nice, but my God, man. Why do we have, like, no picks? Well, we have a 90 corner, 91 strong safety. Why aren't we getting turnovers? It makes no sense. I don't know, man. This one's confusing. Let's get into the offseason. Go to year 4. Year 4 free agency, only one target we want, and of course we have to massively overbid, but he can play literally everywhere on our pretty much any linebacking spot he wants. So Matt Milano, hopefully you can land him and have another good draft. Looking at our draft recap as we head into year number 4. We got Matt Milano in free agency. So we're going to compile that with, at pick number 3, we got Dylan Moses, a weak draft class, but 75 star dev. He was number 5 in true talent. We got him at number 3. A little bit of reach, but we need to drastically fix our linebacking core. He should help. We got Solly from... Looking at our draft recap as we head into year number 4, we got Milano in free agency. So we paired that with a slight reach again in the first round, but he was number 5 in true talent. We got him at pick 3. Dylan Moses, 75, so you might say 75, but that star dev is huge, and he can play pretty much anywhere. We got Tier Whitehead kind of regressing like 2 points a year, not acceptable. We got Sollier here, right guard, 76. I think he has a quick dev, that's not bad. Christian Smith, wide receiver, Ohio State, and then the rest of the draft just filling out depth spots. So it's, I mean, doesn't matter. It feels like it doesn't matter. It feels like no matter what team we tried out there, the sim is not going to be nice to the Raiders. But hey, let's see if we can. Let's just set our goals very, very low. Can we go above 500 next season, year 4? Probably not. Year 4, 91 offense, 87 defense, 85 base. We got Carr, Jordan Howard, Antonio Brown, Cooper Kupp, Robert Foster as our skill position players, along with Jesse James at tight end, 84. He had, I think he got like 1 or 2. He must be going off. I think he got 2 points from the preseason. Offensive line looks pretty nice. Obviously led by Roddy Hudson, who's still a 90, and Darrell Williams, who's an 85. Defensively, we're up to an 87. We got Nick Bosa, 91. Mo Hurst, 93. Zadarius Smith, 88. Garyon Conley is a 90. Deontay Thompson, 83. Dylan Moses, our first-round draft pick, will be starting at right outside linebacker. We got Matt Milano, 88 outside linebacker from the Bills. Carl Joseph, 91. Like, this is a really, really good team. And... goal for this year is just 500. Seems like for whatever reason we get to year 5, it's like 5 years in, like the 2022 season. It always makes like the sim helps you out a little bit, but it'd be nice to get and just sneak into the playoffs here in year 4 in 2021. I don't know if John Gruden can do it, but come on, man, you got the players. Unbelievable, man, unfucking believable. 1-5-1. How? Okay, contracts, Mo Hurst, Antonio Brown, PJ Hall, Jesse James, Mike Ford, and Colton Miller all getting themselves new contracts. Everyone else, goodbye. And somehow we made the playoffs with the ugly. We had 1 win, 2 wins maybe at the halfway point. We went 8-6-2. And oh my God, whatever, man. We'll take 1 playoff berth. Not expecting anything, but at least we got in there. And everything can be shifted towards a year 5 Super Bowl bust. Knowing that we can make the playoffs, surprisingly enough, with a 93 offense and a 91 defense. Looking at how well the team performed. Let's see here. Derek Carr, 3,500 passing yards, 30 touchdowns, 7 picks. See how slow the menus are, man? Oh, it's so laggy. But that's not a bad year from Derek Carr. Good bounce back season. We got 1,200 yards, 8 touchdowns from Jordan Howard. He's been really good. 1,000 yards, 13 touchdowns from AB. That's exactly what we needed. Cooper Kupp has been incredibly underwhelming for paying him top-tier wide receiver money. Defensively, Matt Milano, 127 tackles, 10 TFLs. Worth the money we paid to bring him via free agency. 12 TFLs, 9.5 sacks from Nick Bosa. Getting there. Not quite where I want him to be, but I'll take it. And still struggling to get turnovers in the secondary. What else is new? I don't think we're going to have anyone show up in the yearly award, so let's just peep. MVP shortlist. Aaron Rodgers got the award. And, you know, we had no one there on the list. So, what are the playoffs? I feel like I don't want to. We're not going to play. We'll just play the moments in this one because I firmly believe that they're going to clearly. We're not losing any one of our starters, so we're only going to get better. We're going to be a 90-plus team. We should make the playoffs convincingly in year 5. So let's just see. We'll pop a Barrett. How about that? We'll find the middle ground. We're not just going to straight up sim it. We'll play the moments. If things start getting a little wonky, we'll step in and try to do some damage with the Raiders. But let's go. Wild card at Mile High Stadium against the 10-6 Broncos. Alrighty, let's go, Derek Carr. Come on. Give the people of Vegas something to cheer for. And what they give is stalling on offense and settling for a field goal. 3-0 lead. Our defense is playing pretty well here. But going for 2 field goals is not great. And just like that, we're trailing by 1. In the red zone yet again, we're actually able to punch it in for a touchdown to go up 13-7. Now we're in the second half with a 3-point lead. Denver is just being clinical. And, we're trading touchdowns here, left, right, and center. But it looks like the Broncos have the advantage here. Obviously, I think they have Case Keenum at quarterback, so how are we expected to compete with that? We only have Derek Carr, and we lose! Not surprised at all. This is probably the most boring rebuild I've ever done from a sim standpoint. How about you throw a wrench in it? How come every time my shitty team makes the playoffs, my 8-6-2, wherever they were, they don't get the benefit of the doubt that they can beat a lot better teams? You know what I'm saying? It's always, it's what is expected when your team's not very good when you're the user, and when your team's very good, expect the unexpected. So I feel like whatever scripting goes on in Madden, they have it completely wrong. But that's not the first time. Neither here nor there. We're not going to turn this into a rant about how much I hate the sim in Madden. We're just going to sit back and respect 4 touchdowns and 300 yards from Case Keenum against a 91 defense. All right, year 5 Super Bowl bust. It was pretty much what I expected jumping into this rebuild. But we're going to bring the pain. We're going to bring the pain next year. So with the sad news, that Antonio Brown retired. So we had a decent amount of salary cap that got freed up from that. So we got Dante Pettis looking at trying to bring him in. Very obviously he's developed here well for the 49ers. For a deep threat, going big on the offensive line at both guard spots. David DeCastro and Connor Williams, who are massive upgrades over the youth guys that we had that maybe long term we could develop Kajus and Sawyer, but right now we're in year 5 Super Bowl or bust, so we got to spend all of our cap and then just a complete upgrade here on special teams. So let's get a draft recap from the free agency signings. We got everyone but DeCastro, which was kind of shocking to me, but we had an outstanding draft because now that I'm not using my custom draft classes, I can just start, doing what I do best, and that's be a DraftKings. So we absolutely whiffed here on Graham, which was very surprising, but we got Navarre, a 79 offensive lineman, a tackle that we could probably swing into guard at 330. Second round, we got free safety, 76. We got a 76 D tackle, 75 D end, Francis Curry out of Oklahoma. Look at that, 77 linebacker in the 5th round, Marquise Bradford from Toledo. And there's a couple I pretty much simmed after that. I figure, wash my hands, we were done. Made up for that bad second round pick. Real good draft class, but now we're going year 5, trying to get back to the playoffs, and hey, maybe not an 8-2-2 record, or whatever the hell it was, 8-6-2 record. That was disgusting. Year 5, Super Bowl or bust. Here's what we're working with. A 90 overall team, 95 offense, 91 defense. Obviously missing out on David DeCastro was huge. We still got Connor Williams. We got Sawyer here, who's 79. What's he, quick dev? He's not a weak link, but obviously DeCastro might have, DeCastro single-handedly probably would have made this team an offense, at least like a 97 offense, but our offensive line is good. Jesse J's a tight end, 84. We got Dante Pettis filling in for the now retired Antonio Brown, who was kind of the focal point of this rebuild, even though slightly underwhelmed, I think we could say. We got Robert Foster, we got Cooper Kupp, Derek Carr, Jordan Howard's been really, really nice since we brought him in, and that rounds up our 95 offense, 91 defense. I don't know if we're going to get any gold gloves. Nick Bosa is underwhelmed. Mo Hurst has been nice. You got Garon Conley, 92, Deontay Thompson, 87. Our linebacking core is developing. Carl Joseph, 93. It's still a really, really good defense. And the fact that I have no idea if we're even going to make the playoffs is, it's kind of just the state of Madden, if you will. But you know what? My gut says 10 to 12 wins somewhere. I think year 5 always is fairly generous with a record. I'm going to say 10 to 12 wins. And I'm kind of hoping that we can get a first-round bye, so it limits our chance of getting cheesed out of a Super Bowl run. And then year 5, we get the bye, baby. That's all we needed. Surprise, surprise on 97 offense, 95 defense, 93 overall. And I'm shocked that we got a bye 14-2 on the season. Good night. Good night. What a turnaround for the. I don't even want to act surprised. This is how this team should have played to begin with. These are the kind of maybe not 14, but give me this is a team that should definitely get 12 plus wins. 10 wins is the absolute floor for this team. So 14-2, and I'm acting like that's crazy. We've had a 16-0. I think we might have had 2 16-0s, but I know for a fact we have one 16-0. We've had a bunch of 15-1. So 14-2, kind of common, but for this team, the way that they've just been dog shit, even though we made the playoffs last year, I will absolutely take that. Looking at stats, Derek Carr, almost 3,600 passing yards, 36 touchdowns, 6 picks. Not bad. Probably his best year of his career. Jordan Howard has been, without a doubt, the best skill position player that we've had. Almost 1,500 yards, 13 touchdowns. We got 1,000 yards, 1,100 yards, 7 TDs from Dante Pettis. So that's pretty much picking up where AB's production left off. Not bad from Cooper Kupp, even though, I'll tell you right now, if you're watching this rebuild, don't get Cooper Kupp if you play it on Simmons, because he's not playing well. Not playing well. We gave him like $40 million contract. Defensively, we got 96 tackles from Caleb Kelly. You got 13 sacks finally. 10-plus sacks, double-digit sacks for Nick Bosa. Mo Hurst has been an animal, 17 TFLs and 10 sacks from D tackle. We got 4 picks. Milano, 4. Finally, some turnovers. A lot of turnovers back there. I'll take that every day of the week. Yearly awards. MVP went to Deshaun Watson, with Jordan Howard coming in at number 6. Derek Carr at number 9. Coach of the Year went to John Gruden. Best record in football. Like, why did it take 5 years? Why does it always take 5 years? Like, obviously, it kind of worked because we do 5-year rebuilds, but, like, how about year 3? We have 3 chances to win the Super Bowl. Not always making it a Super Bowl or bust, so that when we do eventually have to endure some cheese, it's that much frustrating because it took us forever to get there. So I think if you are a Raiders fan, the first way to start off what you hope to be a Super Bowl run would definitely be knocking off, obviously the fumble game, the Brady rule, the Tuck rule game, and trying to knock off these 10-6 Patriots. So let's get into it. All right, usually I play in the offense, but the offense started with a 7-point touchdown, so I'm going to give them benefit of the doubt. We're going to let the sim go here. I feel like the sim is not going to rob us on this one. If they do, shame. Shame on you. But we're playing pretty well. There we go. We were able to sim. Anytime you can sim past at least one of these playoff games where you don't have to hop in and just throw a bunch of picks, or your guys are just, the other team's DBs run better routes than wide receivers. The typical complaints of Madden gameplay, the better. And while Drew Lock, the man that's taken over for Tom Brady there in New England, kind of outdueled Derek Carr a little bit. Jordan Howard and Dante Pettis had huge games. Those are key free agency signings. Let's be honest, when the Vegas Raiders become a team, that's kind of how they're going to live. Drafting is a bonus, but they now have that big city that should be able to help them attract premier free agents. So, hey, we'll take it. And just like that, we're in the AFC Championship game. So here's something that's pretty ridiculous. So as we are here in the AFC Conference Championship game, I'm like, what way can we look at improving the team here just in case? What can give us a little extra umph? The rookie 80 Dak King started to have rookie from Ohio State just chilling as a free agent. I've seen like Dak Prescott as an 84 just to be chilling as a free agent, but not a rookie. So Dak King, we're going to sign Dak King as a, I guess, I don't know, undrafted free agent. Was he cut? Was he drafted by ever? We're not only going to do that, we're going to take this man. We're going to take this man, and we're going to move him into here. We're going to look, he's going to be our starting slot wide receiver over Foster. Foster's a deep threat. And we're going to try and have maybe one of the most craziest scenarios that I've seen. I mean, if I'm ranking them, I've seen probably maybe 2 or 3 more questionable guys on the free agency wire than Dak King. I don't know what happened there. Again, probably went to like the Rams, and they just 5 spots. Let's get rid of them. But Dak King, Ohio State. Okay. That's what we need to win the conference championship. To get a guy his opportunity, been sitting there, far too talented. I don't know if he's from the AAF, the XFL, the CFL. But what happened is the WTF apparently for this league. We're ready. We're now got the complete player to make our offense do what it needs to do to get past this 11-5 Houston Texans team. My God, Madden, sort your shit out. Oh, right there. Dak King, just like that, making his first catch in the Raiders uniform on a very clutch 3rd and long. Keeps the drive going for the Raiders. Oh, phenomenal. Hey, there's the cheese. Right on time. Beautiful. Oh, let's go Cooper Kupp. That's a good gainer. A little bit slower than I would expect it, but that's a good gainer. Able to get the ball back with no points after that cheese fumble. I like to see it. 3rd and 1. Let's run it right at J.J. Watt. Why not? It's going to work. And look at that. Jordan Howard makes up for the fumble. Gets in for the touchdown. 10-0 lead. Hopefully with 1:57, we can hold on to that going into halftime. Oh, let's go Dante Pettis. Get that speed line, son. You're not going to let Jackson catch you. All right. Oh, my God. You let him. That better not be Kareem Jackson, who's like 37. but puts us up in a tremendous spot here to do the one play that we're going to run. Got to regain his confidence after that fumble, which wasn't really his fault. I don't hold him accountable for that fumble. But Jordan Howard already got one touchdown on the day. Let's knock this one into the park. Oh yeah, that should. I'm not gonna say anything about what this touchdown should mean for the end score of this game, but I'm feeling good. 20 zip. All right, let's sim this one out. We should have it, right? We should be able to get out of here with a victory, which we do. 21-7. We got the touchdowns. Jordan Howard with 2. Good performance, though, man. This is a team, not so much last year, but Madden 17. Anytime, these were my Achilles heels. For whatever reason, I could never play well against the Houston Texans defense, and they are a common opponent that you find deep in the playoffs when you are an AFC team. But not bad, man, on the day. You got Dante Pettis had a couple big catches. Jordan Howard, Dak King, I think, had 70 or 80 yards in his debut performance. Cooper Kupp, 97 yards. But no, it's just, low-scoring game, dominated on the run. Wasn't pretty, but it is all we needed to get into a Super Bowl. Year 5 Super Bowl or bust. Let's go. Whoever our opponent is, we're going to win. All right. We got the Super Bowl against the Rams. Surprise, surprise. Who else will we be playing? Trying to let the sim do its thing here. Not looking so hot as we can't score any points on offense. Why didn't I just play it? I always wanted to do it just because this whole rebuild felt weird from the get-go, and this is actually probably as fitting, and not the end I want. I would have loved to win the Super Bowl, but the fact that it took us to year 5 to have a good record, it felt like whatever this was going to be inevitable, and I didn't like the 36-0. That's probably one of the most one-sided Super Bowls of all time. I literally felt like that was inevitable. I just had that feeling in my pulse, 100 yards passing from my quarterback, that it's the weekend again, and I think this was a similar way that we ended. Maybe I can't just wait till the weekend to record these rebuilds because I just don't want to be pissed off. And I felt like everything was going to be, as soon as I saw the Rams, I was like, I'm going to get cheesed. And this cheese will probably piss me off because this was a really good team that we built up. So rather than ruining my weekend, we got to see Antonio Brown. What would happen if Antonio Brown went to the Las Vegas Raiders? Would they win? Would they lose? And what we found is Raiders not very good. No matter what you do, no matter what team you do, whatever is in the coding is to make the Raiders not be successful. They are a cursed team. They officially get that little asterisk. They're a cursed team here in Madden 19 rebuilds. This is a stamp of approval from me. And the more and more I do these rebuilds on the weekends where I have to kind of bail out so I don't just get super frustrated and not want to do anything on the weekend, really has me on the verge of making a re-review of Madden 19. Like, where into 2019 January, where do I feel my Madden 19 review? Like, revisit my original review. If that's something you guys want to see and you want to see me burn potentially all my bridges, becoming a game changer, I'm ready to do it, man. I'm ready to put. This is unacceptable. That's all. That's pretty much all I'm going to say right now. Is the state of franchise mode. While the it's unacceptable. I don't want to go in further than that, just in case I don't do a re-review. But let me know what you guys feel about that. I mean, I could make it somewhat professional, and I don't know. Madden's not in a good spot right now. But thank you guys for tuning in to the realistic rebuild of the Las Vegas Raiders by way of having Antonio Brown on their team, which, I mean, again, I think Raiders are definitely a top 3 team if, and in fact, the Antonio Brown trade can go down. And I guess I get maybe apologies for bailing on this Super Bowl and not actually playing it, but I just had that feeling, man. I've done 100. I think this is when I started this, my 120th franchise mode that I've done, some form of simulation. And I just know I got that tingling in my balls when it just says C4. Let the sim. It's a rebuild first and foremost. You shouldn't play any games if you really wanted to be serious. And don't ruin your weekend. Don't get everything started off on a bad note. So that is where we're at. As always, let me know what team you want to see me rebuild next week. We're looking for an NFC team. I think we have like 5 or 6 teams left that we need to rebuild. So I'm looking for. I don't know off the top of my head what teams we still have left. I think we have the Giants. I think we have the Cardinals. And I know we have the Chargers in the AFC, but Giants or Cardinals. Which one of those teams do you want to see next week? I promise you right here today that I will record it on a weekday, so I don't have to worry about ruining my weekend. I will play the Year 5 Super Bowl bust, and I'll endure the cheese. But I just not having it this weekend, fellas. So thank you for watching the rebuild. As always, your first time stopping by, don't be afraid to hit that subscribe button, smash the like button if you enjoyed. And until next time, it's C4 saying, there's my 93 overall team putting up 0 points in the Super Bowl. And I'll catch you back here next weekend for a rebuild.
Money I'm spending, I'm out and I'm shopping. You talking that shit, well you talking to talking. Look at my options, look at me dropping. Ass in the game, like who are you stopping? Not me, not me, not never. Not me, not me, not never. Not me, not me, not never. I'm way too clever. Look at the kid, Mr. Consistent, I'm doing it big. Way too persistent on taking your bitch. Here comes a monster to scare all you kids.